Hey guys, welcome to a bit of a special video. Welcome to Sunder. I did this map because I'm not going to self-promote too often, I swear, but over on my Twitch, I'm doing this little stream series where whoa, nice snipe from that cyber. Holy crap, I never noticed that. that was awesome. I'm doing this stream series where I have a randomizer and I am doing completely random maps on the doomed index. And if you don't know what the doomed index is, it will be the top of the description. But yeah, this map is jaded tier, but with the way I did it, there are cheeses littered in this map everywhere. So with the way I did it, it's probably more like high elite tier. This is one of my hardest maxes. And yeah, sort of did this out of nowhere. So first fight, grab the supplies, grab the plasma, hit the switch and immediately kill the perched archvile, because he is a lot of area denial, and then kill the sniper revs and be aware of those cyber positionings. Hide behind the boxes to avoid their rockets. These cybers are the absolute worst. They can just do whatever the hell they want, and you have to play around them. I target the snipers first because if you were to plasma down these cybers with them alive, they will just bombard you. Only really the revs though. The Hell Knights aren't that bad. But yeah. I'm gonna try and point out every fight I decided to do cheeseless. I only do 2 cheeses in this map, at the very end of the demo. But basically every single fight in this map has a cheese, and that's why it's in jaded tier and not elite tier. With this fight, the start of the fight is actually not the switch that I hit at the very start. It's a line def in front of it that you can actually run around. So what you can do is skip that line def and hit the switch, which raises a lift. We'll be taking it once the cybers are dead. And you can get out of this fight, then trigger the fight and plasma rocket everything from a distance. I didn't want to do very many cheeses apart from like ones that I thought were like necessary for me to do. There's the 2 fights that I do cheese are just absolutely ridiculous. And if you want to see a run of this map done fully cheeseless, no cheeses at all, go check out Blue Cultist's demo on this map, because he did everything the intended way. I did everything intended except for 2 fights. Now that the cybers are dead, you can rocket down these Hell Knights safely. You also want to be aware of that sniper cyber all the way in the back. He is an absolute pain. Just be aware of him the entire time. Hide behind the boxes. Checking on him every once in a while to see if there's any rockets coming my way, and then rocket down these barons. And it can get the ammo in this fight can get a little sketchy, since there's so little. You're gonna use all your cells on the cybers, all your rockets on these final barons and the snipers. But it's only 1 left. And here's the lift that raises when you hit the switch. So technically you can just go up here, hit this switch, and get out of the fight. Remember to telefrag the cyber. I've forgotten to do that a few times in practice. And we're gonna go to our first wing, which is the TV wing, or the Blue Skulky wing. And I have names for each one of the fights. They could be a little confusing, but basically all the big fights I dub TV number. So this fight right here is what I consider TV1, and there is a smaller fight in between each in each wing. There's a small fight between the first and second fight. Those are what I call mini fights or filler fights. So if you hear me saying TV1, B's 3, mini fight, B's mini fight, or something like that, that's just what I call the fights. So this is TV1. The strat here, go for the revs right away, just spam plasma. What you want to do is lure the cybers over to this side as much as possible. Just do these little L shapes to avoid the revs. And once the cybers are coming close, plasma your way out. The movement, something to note is the movement pattern here is incredibly precise and specific. Run behind the teleporter for those nobles, through the tunnel where the cybers emerged from, and you can camp up against this wall. You have to camp up against this wall because we'll see if they zap me when I leave. Try to zap me when I leave. There's a bunch of perched archviles providing area denial near that wall. But now we're doing U-shapes through there they are, the archviles. Doing one U-shape through the cyber tunnel, and then you can run to where the Hell Knights and Barons teleport from, and you can camp here for a while. And the goal now is just get the infighting going. The less cybers there are in this fight, the better. So we want to squeeze out as much infighting as possible. Nice dodge, by the way. Occasionally doing these U-shapes when we feel like we're getting overwhelmed, and when we feel the time is right, you can actually... I think I do it on the next pass, but this was a little sketchy since the cyber was taking up so much room here. When you pull enough enemies to that side, you can run around and camp here. Still have to be aware of those sniper archviles, but there are also a number, it's like 2 or 3, I think 3, floor vials in this fight that you have to be aware of. Those are your #1 priority when you're shooting at the enemies, at least. Because despite the number of pillars, there's not a whole lot of cover. You're going to be running around a lot, and those archviles will have a sight of you for a good majority of the fight, so take them out as soon as you can when you see the time is right. But at this point, it's mostly just cleanup. You want to be aware of the cybers, the archviles still. And don't worry about getting zapped when leaving this area. Past a certain point, the archviles cannot see you anymore. So once enemies come around, just run through to this area where the Hell Knights and Barons teleported in. And just kill whatever at this point. More likely than not, the cybers will win. It's pretty random the amount of cybers that are left alive at the end of the infighting. Sometimes you have like upwards of 6. Sometimes you have just 2. This time, I think that was the final cyber. I could be wrong. Got a lot of infighting out, and the last remaining enemies were some Hell Knights, which is pretty uncommon. And sometimes some enemies like to go up the stairs where we hit the switch to start the fight, so checking that as well. And then just taking out these sniper revs. Still maintain a distance because the sniper archviles can see you in some spots. And now to slowly chip away at these archviles. And this takes a while, so bear with me. But yeah, these guys can see you as you're going through the cyber tunnel, and you can actually occasionally get zapped on your way through. You want to be hugging the right wall of the cyber tunnel when making U-shapes to have the least risk of getting zapped by these guys. But occasionally, a cyber comes out of nowhere sometimes, makes me have to not hug the right wall, have to avoid him, and I get zapped, and it's just unfortunate when that type of thing happens. But I was mostly consistent at this fight with this movement pattern, dragging out the infighting. It all relies on the movement pattern though. And now it's time for the first mini fight of the map. And I purposefully do not take the, I take that supercharge. You might have seen that I left the supercharge and mega armor in the previous fight. We're going to be saving that for later. I want 200-200 for TV2. So right away, plasma down. 3 archviles, sometimes it's only 2 that come through at the very start of the fight. And I use plasma until I'm at about 300 cells. Or 200, I actually forgot. This demo is about a month old. I just never got around to commentating at 300 cells. And then switch over to rockets, because more often than not, one archvile stays at the very back and just resurrects imps. This fight is only archviles and imps. And I think there's 4 archviles. 3 of them rushed to me at the very start, so got to take out 3 of them, which is very nice. Most of the time only 2 come through, and there's another archvile off to the right where the imps were coming from. But again, not too bad. Now we're going back, collecting ammo, and we're going to grab that supercharge and mega armor from earlier. Because the megasphere in the next fight is incredibly difficult to reach in the middle of the fight. So we want 200-200 now. And here we go, TV2. This is the hardest fight in the map, easily. And what I dedicated a lot of practice to. So shoutouts to Abonki for this initial strat. Hide here on the stairs, because there's some very far away revs that otherwise would have been shooting at you. When you hear revs teleporting behind you, that is your sign to leave. Duck into the mega armor closet and shoot anywhere between 10 to 15 rockets at these archviles. I found is reasonably safe. Getting zapped and having to pick up that mega armor, because there's a mega armor in that cubby, is incredibly bad. We want that mega armor for the middle of the fight, because again, resources, health, and armor in this fight is incredibly scarce. But get some infighting going between the Cybers and the Hell Knights, and now for the stupidest strat ever. I kid you not, this is the most consistent thing I've found. Run around this pillar in circles, keep a good eye on the Cybers and any infighting rockets, because those are 100% your worst enemy, and just plasma those pain elementals. I dropped down below 100 health, so I went to go grab that supercharge all the way in the corner of the arena. But once you do that, just go back to circling. I don't know why this is the best strat. I have actually zero idea how this is more consistent than anything else I found, but it just is. So do not question it. These pain elementals are a nightmare because they are the worst for the infighting rockets in this fight. There's again a ton of Cybers that come out, and yeah, drop down to 39. I had to rush for those medkits. Going for those medkits can be scary because sometimes the faraway revs can be shooting at you, and a homing missile can loop around and hit you, but so you just gotta be aware of that when going for those medkits. And yeah, like I said, those infighting rockets, you want to be super aware. And the gimmick of this fight, actually, if you haven't noticed already, these orange lines on the ground are teleporters. and you'll see occasionally like a cyber takes it and teleports all the way to the opposite side of the arena. So this fight artificially keeps the infighting rockets flowing, keeps the infighting rockets an issue throughout the fight. You gotta be aware of infighting Hell Knight and Baron projectiles too, which is stupid. But yeah, this corner here near the Mega Armor is a decently safe spot. Where the supercharges is a decently safe spot, but you don't want to linger here for too long or else the nobles will hug the wall. That's another issue that you'll run into. This little movement pattern where you just go from the Mega Armor corner to the supercharged corner is the safest movement pattern that once the enemies start to die out. And yeah, after some time, just focus down plasming the cybers. Again, infighting rockets are an issue throughout the entire fight, so just get rid of them when you feel the time is right. Another thing about this, I think it's the initial circling around the pillar, but you can get cybers teleporting up to where we hit the switch to start the fight. And from there, they are stuck. They cannot teleport anywhere else. That is the best place you can have cybers go to. And you can see in the distance, there's 2 stuck cybers on the ledges, which is hilarious. A lot of nobles will teleport up there too. They'll just infight happily and then get stuck, if you're lucky enough. Rocket down these revs and take the time to wait for any rockets flying by, because I was pretty sure there's 1 cyber left alive at the very back of the arena. That's all the revs. No need to rocket anymore. There we go. I was right. One last cyber on the floor. Just take him out. So the cheese for this fight, by the way, well, debatable if it's considered cheese, is to rush the 2 Archviles across the platforming and just camp there. That's it. The cheeses in this map are incredibly campy and not entertaining to watch or play, so that's why I decided. It's also just way more fun to play the map without the cheeses. And I hope it's more entertaining for you guys too. Taking out the last few enemies, the cyber on the stairs. And then this cyber. And that's where the mega is. Like I said, very difficult to grab because, again, enemies will teleport up here. And I think someone in my Twitch chat told me I should punch this guy out, but I was like, no, I am incredibly scared. Any attempt that gets past this fight is considered a really good attempt. So I was I was like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna plasma that guy. And then some more area denial Archviles in the very back of the arena, so you can't camp here either. And these guys respawn a few times, so yeah. Camping back here is not an option. Restocking on cells. Kill some more area denial Archviles. You guys see a running pattern in this map yet? Area denial Archviles. And that Oh my gosh. So, if you guys don't know, Sunder is notorious for its lack of monster block lines. I'm actually kind of glad that happened. I heard that guy from below. A Hell Knight fell into the pit. And if I had missed that guy, I would have probably been wandering around the map for like 10 minutes. Trying to find, oh, where'd the last guy go? Hit that switch where the archviles were to reveal 2 more archviles, but you can just rocket them from a safe distance. They can't reach you here. And if you're wondering, you can see all these cracks in the floor and stuff. I believe anything with like these warning hazard lines that you see on the edges of the walls, those are real death pits, and then the rest is fake floor. Alright, TV3. This fight is not nearly as bad. Have a full mega going into it, which is very nice. Hit the switch and rush to hit this switch. Optional cybers that you 100% want in the fight. I linger there for about 3 to 4 seconds in the hallway, and then you want to run up these stairs as quick as you possibly can. You can get rocketed going up these stairs if you're unlucky, by the way. It happened in one attempt for me. Then grab that invuln, push through the pinkies, and you want to kill these archviles as quick as possible. The beginning of this fight is an absolute rush. But if you kill all these archviles, and I had a good amount of invuln time left over to push through and kill this last archvile. If you get to this point, you are in a really, really good spot. All archviles dead by the time the invuln expires. Then push through once you see cybers coming up against the wall, and run to the opposite side of the arena where the Megasphere is, and just rocket down Barons and Hell Knights. You want to be rocketing them until you start to get overwhelmed. You want to be rocketing these guys for as long as possible to pull all the nobles that came towards you while you were rushing the archviles. You want to pull them towards you so you can run around. When you run out of rockets, switch to cells, obviously. Grab that mega because I was very not confident, and then move around. That was actually kind of dicey. It probably would have been worth... You want to stick... When running around, you want to stick as close to the nobles as possible, because in case you need to turn around on a dime, like you cannot get through, which is entirely possible. The Hell Knights and Barons can block you from going back as well, so staying as close to them as possible makes it a little less risky. And again, once you get overwhelmed on that side, just go back, rinse and repeat. Rocket Hell Knights and Barons. Obviously, we did not, you can see the cybers up there from when we were teleporting them out. You can't get every cyber from up there to teleport down initially, sadly. So what I do is, when the population starts dwindling, then I get those cybers just to help clean up a little bit. But honestly, that's totally optional, because it can be risky doing that. And there's more than enough cells to take out everything in the map, or everything in this fight. That's it for the rockets. I wish there were more rockets in this fight, because the cell usage is pretty ridiculous. You get way more cells than rockets in this fight. and you're likely going to have to plasma down a good number of Hell Knights and Barons. Now that we've pulled them to that side, I'm going to try and teleport as many cybers as I can remaining up there into the fight. I only got one that time. We can help out. Every cyber counts. Took a lot of damage there, wow. Now I'm trying to get that last cyber out. And that was incredibly risky. That was not worth doing. If that cyber that was already on the floor stopped infighting and came to the entrance to the hallway, he could have easily rocketed me on my way out, and I could have done nothing about it, but he thankfully didn't. So thank you, Cyber. I appreciate your mercy. Plasma down the final cyber. $1144, that is the correct amount of kills. You've killed everything in the map up to this point. Everything in the TV wing. And once again, we managed to save that Megasphere at the start of the fight, so we get 200 going into the next fight, which is very nice. And the blue skull key. So next up is the Bees wing. Actually, no, I lied. I forgot. This fight is incredibly forgettable. We have one more like little incidental fight before going to the next wing. Nice phase logo. Rocket down the chain gunners right away if you can. I managed to get one on the right side, which was very nice. Sometimes they it's very hard to auto-aim to the ones on the sides of these crates, so they can shoot at you, chip away at you, which is annoying, and then plasma down these last two guys just to save a few rockets. I managed to get out without taking any damage. If you do take damage, grab that supercharge, because not gonna need it for any other fight. And SR40, by the way, after hitting that switch, I think if you W, you fall off. But yeah, this entrance, man, is so pretty. And if you don't know about the bees, well, prepare yourself. Here they are, the hive mommies, or mothers. So yeah, I run to the corner just to get as much damage off as I can on the leftmost hive mother, and just try your best to dodge. This attempt went extremely poorly. I took so much damage. But honestly, as long as you don't die, it's good. The hive mothers, their primary attack is a huge spread of Mancubus fireball, so you want to keep your distance. If you get hit by that up close, you're basically toast. And something that's really cool, another thing that's really cool, yeah, my dodging here was not the greatest. Another cool thing about the hive mothers is when they are pain stunned, they shoot 2 Cyber Demon rockets. What's funny about that is, if those since I know I used plasma 2 Archviles when you hit the next switch, by the way. So, just collecting supplies and then pre-fire 1 rocket. Oh, 2 rockets. Man, I'm wrong all the time. I know I used plasma against these Hive Mothers, but they do take splash damage. So if you get a Hive Mother to stun and shoot another Hive Mother with the Cyber Demon rockets, they can actually start infighting with each other. Which, they can't kill each other, but they just do that. Alright, and here's the next mini fight, like I said, in between Bees 1 and Bees 2. Bunch of imps teleporting. This is a really cool sequence, by the way. Imps teleporting up the stairs, up the spiral staircase. And once you reach the top, it'll be Revs and an Archvile in the very back, so you want to clear out as many imps as you can. Goodbye, imp. That guy just fell off the ledge. There's the Revs, so just drop down, pull out rocket launcher, and this is a nice spot here to rocket those guys down from. Last thing you want is for, especially the Archvile, but any Revs to start coming down the stairs. You want to keep them in this spot for as much as possible. Like this guy started coming down the stairs. That was a little scary. But yeah, not too big of a deal. And that is the mini fight done. Grab that Megasphere. You need that Megasphere for Bees 2. Because this is what I would consider probably the second hardest fight of the map, Bees 2. So hit the switch and immediately run to the opposite side and duck in the this little cubby to avoid the Archvile. SSG him down. And then show your face to a bunch of Hive Mothers and 2 Cybers. Stick to the left side, because we're going to be running around to the right. We want the Cybers on the left side, and we want them to be infighting Hive Mothers. That Cyber, of course, was very reluctant to, which is very bad, and when you start to get overwhelmed by these Hive Mothers, this can go horribly wrong, by the way. If they shoot at you while you're in that corner, you can just take a ton of damage. But if you can make your way out towards the staircase, then this is a decent spot to rocket down Hive Mothers and get as much damage off as possible. In this demo, I got extremely lucky with the Hive Mother pathing. It's entirely possible to get overwhelmed by the Hive Mothers, and when that happens, you just do U-shapes in the corner that we hid in with the 3 cell packs and near this switch. But I was able to camp here for a really, really long time and just kill each Hive Mother that came towards me, which is extremely lucky. This Hive Mother's just hiding behind the pillar. Does not want to show her face. And down she goes. Pick up all the rockets before moving on to Bees 3. And there is a cheese for this fight as well. All the enemies in this fight are set to ambush, so you can wake them up one at a time and kill them one by one. One by one reference! Yeah. Obviously that's extremely boring, so again, decided not to do it. For content! Now for Bees 3, probably the 3rd hardest fight in the map. So what you want to do is rocket down this archvile. That was incredibly unfortunate. I got pushed by that Hell Knight fireball into the wall and did a slight face rocket. But and on this side you want to stand on the edge. You want to be standing on the edges of the hexagons because they are not fake floored, and the bumpiness can actually really throw you off. But rocket down those archviles as quick as you possibly can. Try not to get overwhelmed by the Hell Knights. Run around to the opposite side through the little, what do you even call that, corridor? I don't know. This side of the arena. And the primary focus is to get the infighting going with the Hell Knights. Camp there for a bit to pull the Hell Knights away from the entrance. This little, I don't even, tunnel, I'll just call it tunnel, sure, is the godsend in this fight. Hide behind the pillars whenever you need to make a turn. And you want to get as much damage off. This was scary. Hive Mother being there, I don't even know how she got past all the Hell Knights and Kakos, but thankfully she was at extremely low health, and yeah, man, squeezed by those Hell Knights too. She was at very low health, and I managed to kill her and get by. But yeah, you wanna damage the Hive Mothers as much as possible, and Hell Knights can get in here too. But when that happens, have plasma ready, spam a bunch on your way down the tunnel, and try and take them out before they block you. The less Hive Mothers in this fight, the better. And yeah, that was that was scary. Hive Mother on my right and just slammed me with a bunch of Mank fireballs. I'm lucky that I didn't take even more damage than I did. But with this health, I decided I need to go for the Megasphere. That was perfect. Taking no damage grabbing that Megasphere, it is in a very, very scary location, but most of the time you're going to need to grab it mid-fight. That went absolutely perfect, and not taking any damage while grabbing it is... I don't know if that even happened during practice at all. But yeah, the less Hive Mothers in this fight, the easier it becomes. The longer the Hive Mothers stay in the map, the stronger they become. So just rocket them down whenever you're on that side of the arena. When the Hell Knights and Kakos start dying out, you can start rocketing them here as well. Random Kako floating in the tunnel. But yeah, your main threat are the Hive Mothers shooting at you when you don't expect it to. And Hell Knights and Kakos blocking you, I suppose, in the tunnel. Because I've had it in practice where like 5 of them are in the tunnel at one time, and it's basically just game over when that happens. And that is the B-Wing complete. And you get the red skull key from it. There is a cheese for this fight as well. You rush these 2 switches right away, which opens up the teleporter out, and you take that teleporter and you run through the teleporter. The teleporter is 2 ways, so you can go back as well. You just cycle between them, and the Hive Mothers can't do anything about it. They just go towards the opposite end of the arena of the teleporter. You can just rocket them down. Again, incredibly boring. And now for some very slow platforming. Took this slow. 40 minutes in to a very hard map. I did not want to take any chances. And now for the box wing. So box 1, we're going to grab the Megasphere right away because it's in a very bad spot to grab mid-fight. Press to alert the guard. We hit all 3, spawns in 3 cybers right away. And then start it up. And then 1 more cyber in the crate. You don't want to release that guy before starting the fight because he can block you on your when you jump down. Run to the back of the arena and just let infighting do its thing. This fight can be scary if the cybers don't infight and start overwhelming you like this guy did here. This got a little dicey. Just trying to dodge to the best of my abilities. Because you want to spend as much time here as you can, again, to pull the Hell Knights and Barons out of their closet. And now you can camp back here and rocket them down for as long as possible to pull the cybers and revs away from the opposite side. This entire map really is just about your movement patterns and hurting enemies around. And this fight, compared to stuff like TV2, Bees 2, Bees 3, it is not nearly as hard, but it can still go very wrong. Just looping around the arena, rocketing the Hell Knights and Barons. Until you start getting overwhelmed, then loop back. I saw in a lot of other people's runs for this map, they take the time to kill this sniper. Oh, and this. I did not like those infighting rockets. I did not like those rockets trailing behind me from the other 2 cybers. I had to duck for a minute. But I saw in other runs people taking the time, like drawing, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Averting their attention? Probably not the right word, but towards the sniper arachnotrons up there, which I saw no point in doing really. I want to be focused on what the cybers are doing throughout the fight. How much they're infighting, any infighting rockets coming my way. I want to be focusing on the hurting, making sure the Hell Knights and Barons are pulled away from any walls enough, stuff like that. So I kill the sniper arachnotrons at the end of the fight. Kill that pesky pain elemental. Clean up the sniper arachnotrons now that everything else is dead. Except for 1 Hell Knight. The sole survivor. Once again, collect supplies. And we'll be moving on to the mini fight of the box wing. I don't really know why we call this the box wing, by the way, because this is the only fight in this wing that involves boxes. Or actually the mini fight too, I guess, but yeah. That switch does nothing, and run. Hear those archviles behind you? Behind me? So, plasma, any revs that are in your path, you just want to get to the end of the hallway as quick as possible. This was a little scary because took more damage than I'm comfortable with, but once you do reach the end, there's a Megasphere right there, and you can rocket down all the Archviles that were released, and it is a lot of Archviles. In this room, you are pretty much safe. The light on the ground that you see there is they're on all three sides that enemies that you can rocket enemies from, I guess. And they teleport the enemies throughout the halls. It is possible for enemies to be blocking the teleporters and for like Archviles to get in to this room, but that did not happen very much from my experience, and I don't think it happened at all in this demo. So, and even if it does, there is another Megasphere before the next fight, so as long as you run through the hallways as quick as you can and make it to this room, then you're pretty much safe. And just going through the hallways, making sure all the enemies are dead. I don't see the kill count changing, so I don't think there's any Archviles alive. And the switch to get out is right back here. And now it's time for the courtyard. These are the last two fights in the map, and like I said, we are going to cheese them. Because these two fights, if I were to do them normally, and I should probably explain first. We're going to be doing a zero press. There's a switch that lets you get out of the fight beyond this crate. I line up with, I'm going to rewind a little bit, hope you don't mind. I line up with this brown pixel, the very tip of my pistol. I line up with the dark brown pixel that you can see there, and with the very left side of that pixel. And I spam W and E. Well, E is my use key, so spam W and use, and you can hit the switch through the crate. Just like that. And what that does is it lowers another crate with 2 Archviles. And you can hit this switch to lower the bars. This fight normally, apparently Crusader 560 found a decent strat after I recorded this demo. Like a good like, I think he lures the cybers around, and I don't really need to, I don't think I need to really say what's going on in this fight. It's just release all the cybers, let them infight, and rocket down enemies when the cybers start dying out. I think Crusader 560 found a consistent strat for the court. Okay. Too much to talk about. I'm so sorry. We actually don't call these, or I actually don't call. I don't know. It could be consensus. We don't really call these fights Box 2, Box 3. It's a courtyard and throne room. Do not ask me, well, if you want to know why, it's because it's a courtyard and the throne room, but it's different from the other 2 wings. But Crusader found a strat that he can correct me if I'm wrong. I might ask him later. Where you lure the cybers to one side of the arena and optimize infighting to basically pull all the enemies towards that one side, because everything I found for the courtyard was just not working. The courtyard and the throne room are if you were to do them normally, are without a doubt, the hardest fights in the map. Harder than TV2, harder than Bees 2, harder than everything. They are absolutely ridiculous, but... So I decided to cheese them in this demo. So, yeah, by this point it's just rocketing down everything through the hallway. So, this is boring, I apologize. But I'm gonna ask Crusader about the courtyard strat for sure. I know he didn't really, well, he found a spot to camp in the in the throne room, but it's also incredibly boring. So for all intensive purposes, for all content purposes, nothing has been found for the throne room. Nothing consistent that doesn't involve camping in one spot. Now all the stragglers, a bunch of imps in the nice yards of these houses. This area is beautiful, by the way. I don't think I actually need to say that because obviously Sunder as a whole is beautiful. And sometimes enemies like to go up these stairs. I have no idea how they even get up here, but every single time they like to go up those stairs and and be up there. 2,000 kills is the right amount of kills you're supposed to have before moving on. And the last 2 kills are Archviles from the crate we did the zero press in. So take these guys out. We can move on to the throne room, which, like I said, we also cheese. So, you want to pick up supplies in here because we're going to be in the courtyard rocketing down the enemies. And the cheese for this fight is similar to the very first fight in the map. The line def to... I'm going to pause, actually. The line def to... that blocks off access to the courtyard is up these stairs. So what you can do is run along the sides here, jump, collect the blue key, Megasphere, like I'm about to do right now. What is happening to the progress bar? Start the fight and run off the side, because then the bars will not lower or raise at all, and you can just leave the fight. You can just leave and rocket everything down from the courtyard. And again, release all the cybers, get infighting going, because this is it. This is this is the last big fight of the map. There is a very small phase 2, but it is basically a non-issue. And yeah, I mean, look at how many enemies are in this fight. I have absolutely zero idea how to do this fight the intended way. So yeah, forgive me if you wanna come at me with burning pitchforks or whatever for using 2 cheeses. I don't blame you. And this was really weird, actually. I think I accidentally hit the cyber with a rocket that I wanted to shoot at literally anything else. And I made him target... I unintentionally made him target me. But just the way infighting works, after the cyber takes 100 steps, he goes back to whatever. He goes back to targeting whatever hits him. And this was extremely dicey, and I hit him again with a rocket, because of course. This was extremely dicey. Usually I can just, like, camp between the courtyard and the throne room. Don't ask me why I did that, by the way. That's the worst possible spot to retreat to from that cyber. But yeah, usually I'm able to rocket these guys down, get efficient splash damage. It was because of that one cyber who just refused to infight for a while. Admittedly, all my fault, but so many enemies were dragged out into the courtyard. So this cleanup was a little a lot slower than usual, but that's okay. And there's a supercharged and mega armor in the fountain that I save specifically for scenarios like this, so. And this is, I think I'm not going to do this too often, but since this is literally just cleanup, slow cleanup, I'm going to speed up the demo a little bit, save you guys some time. And there we go. Picking up rockets, cells. There's actually not a whole lot of rockets in the courtyard, but there are plenty of cells, so that's why I squeeze out as much infighting as I possibly can. And again, this is the most enemies I've seen go up the stairs, even in like, I can't talk, oh my god. This is the most enemies I've ever seen go up the stairs, not even in practice. And by the way, I practice this map a ton. But yeah, I squeeze out as much infighting as I can because the courtyard doesn't actually have that many rockets. It has plenty of cells, but cells are less efficient, obviously. And then these sniper revs, when you kill them, they get replaced with archviles. Like, imagine dealing with the throne room. These revs get killed through infighting, and then you have to deal with perched archviles as well. I just don't know how I was meant to do this fight consistently without cheesing. Again, I apologize. Phase 2, when you hit that switch, last 5 enemies, 4 archviles, 2 on each side, and a cyber that is up the stairs. He is monster blocked. So just rocket down the archviles and anything they resurrect. And then the final enemy. So yeah, this, even with the courtyard and throne room cheese, I still consider this probably one of my hardest demos. I would place it right under Ambrosia Map 4, but above 4 Starduster Map 2. So that's my 4th hardest demo. And then a little bit more platforming. Take it slow, because I don't want to die now. And to the exit. But yeah, that's it. The Singing Void. Sunder Map 18. Little celebratory plasma. There we go. Man. This was a, honestly, okay. My experience with this map was, overall, I would say I had a really, really good time practicing and running this map. I practiced the absolute shit out of this map. I think it was I think this grind was 5 days total. I think I only really did like proper attempts on the final day. So 4 days of practice, and it was like hardcore practice. Like I probably this total playtime for this demo was probably over 24 hours over the course of 5 days, which is unhealthy. Don't do that, by the way. But yeah, this demo actually means a lot to me because it is the culmination of a ton of practice paying off. The furthest death I had was to Bees 2, and everything else was I practiced down to a T. So, yeah, I'm very happy. God, I suck at closing comments. Yeah, again, shout out to Bonky for the TV2 was probably like what I spent the most time with. Shout out to Bonky for the start of that strat because that helped a ton. And I don't even want to know how many hours I dedicated just to TV2 to find something even remotely consistent. Everything else I had was garbage. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, one more thing. When I initially rolled this map, I'm actually extremely happy it gave me this. Out of all the new Sunder maps I could have gotten, I'm actually extremely happy it was this because A, this is probably the easiest new Sunder map to max. B, I was actually thinking about taking a look at this even before doing randomized doomed index runs. Just because it looked fun. That's it. I just wanted to do it. Wanted to take a look at it. But this gave me an excuse to finally do it. And I'm honored to say that I have a new Sunder Max under my belt now. That feels good to say. And one final thing, in case I upload this video too late, I have insider knowledge that this is your reward for watching to the end of the video. Like and subscribe and hit that bell. I have insider knowledge that Sunder Map 21 is right on the horizon, very close to releasing, and with that map, like, this video is probably going to be outdated within a week because when Sunder Map 21 is released, I believe the courtyard and throne room cheeses are being patched. So I recorded this demo on Sunder 2407. I believe with any future versions, those cheeses are going to be patched. So, yeah. And that's if I upload this too late. I really want to get this video out before the map comes out. Otherwise, I'm going to look really stupid. But, whatever. That was a yap fest. Yeah. I think that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far. I really appreciate it. Thank you all for your continuous support, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.